So, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are especially grateful to have partners and funders with us who share our commitment to strengthening families in Illinois. So, in today's Lunch and Learn, we're going to take a close look at how Brightpoint's Fatherhood Services have made an impact over the past 10 years and how your partnership helps us reach fathers and families every day. We will hear directly from our dads and explore where the program is headed next. So first, we're going to start out with some introductions, and then I'm going to play a short video. So I'll go first, and then we can go around the room and introduce ourselves. So I'm Will Moran, Manager of Corporate and Foundation Grants at Brightpoint.
Hi, everybody in the room, and I'm Camera. I'm Jeannie Higdon. I am the Program Director with our Brightpoint Fatherhood Services, and I'm excited to be here today to have a conversation with everybody here on the impact that our program has been able to have in the communities.
You can go.
No, okay.
Behind the scenes, but in the scenes.
Indispensable.
Hi, I'm Kim Van Horn with the Paul M. Angel Family Foundation. Nice to be here.
Mary Growie, I am Brightpoint's Vice President of Advancement. I just started in February, so I'm particularly excited to be lunching and learning as well.
My name's Shaheem Ward. I am the Engagement and Advocacy Specialist, and I'm happy to be here.
Okay, I'm Sean Austin, one of the program supervisors with Brightpoint Fatherhood Services.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Marlo Passmore, Senior Manager for Fatherhood Services statewide.
Hi, everyone. I'm Earl Klopman, Program Manager for Brightpoint Fatherhood Services.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allie Schoen. I'm the Director of Public Policy with Brightpoint, and I'm happy to be here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hollis Green. I'm one of the members of the Fathers Group at Brightpoint, Thriving Fathers.
I'm Derek Handy, and I'm also one of the members and fathers of the program.
I'm Sophia Hunt, and I am a Development Associate with Grants and Research.
Thank you. All right, so now I'm going to kick it over to Lucy so we can meet our online folks.
Yep. So Lucy Cardenas, Director of Institutional Advancement, so Director of the Grants team. And I'm just making sure we introduce all of our funding partners who are joining us virtually. So I'll start with Avery, if you can jump in and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I am Ivery Brown Donnell, she, her pronouns. I'm a program officer with the Irving Harris Foundation, and part of the portfolio work that I hold is Fatherhood Services. Nice to meet you.
Great. Thanks. And then Daphne from McGraw, if you could introduce yourself quickly.
Hi, Daphne Monroy, Executive Director of McGraw Foundation and longtime supporters of Brightpoint / Children's Home and Aid.
Great. And then I think we have a lot of internal staff that for the sake of time, we won't go through, but welcome everybody. Thank you for joining.
Yep. Thank you. All right, so to kick us off, I'm going to share a short video here. Sorry, okay. So I'm just going to provide some context here. Mr. Robert Grady found Brightpoint Fatherhood Services during the COVID-19 pandemic, a period he described as the darkest time of his life. He was going through a prolonged and difficult divorce, and both of his children had just been diagnosed with autism. Facing emotional and financial hardship, he felt very discouraged and overwhelmed. During this low point, his children's daycare coordinator gave him a flyer for one of Brightpoint's fatherhood groups. Although hesitant, he decided to give it a try. Okay.
When I started going to this group, I sat there. I didn't say anything for the first, I want to say almost a month, like three and a half weeks, almost a month. I sat there. And I watched everybody talk. I watched all the men express what they were feeling, what they were going through. I watched them express things that were similar to what I was going through. A lot of guys in there were trying to fight for their kids and see their kids. And one day, I can honestly say that I had a breakthrough. Something one of the navigators said about accountability, and I went off. I was yelling, I was screaming, and I was crying. I had tears going down my face. I was really hurt because I was yelling to him like I did everything the right way. I was faithful. I was honest. I was true. I I took care of everything, and this is the thanks that I get. I said it, I was like, life is not fair. I did everything right, and look at where I am. And I was crying, and I remember some of the guys were trying to calm me down, and because I went off on a complete different tangent. It was nothing about what the discussion was in the subject. It just him saying accountability triggered me. And another one of my love him to death to this day, Terry, he stopped everybody, said, hold on. Instead of being focused on what he's saying, look at I said, he said, do you guys feel the pain that's coming off of him? Do you feel the pain that he's in? Do you see how hurt he is? And and they surrounded me once Terry said that. It was nothing, it wasn't no apprehension, nothing like that, but I never experienced that as a man. I've never experienced like love, like unconditional love. I've only experienced conditional. Like I had to do something in order to receive the love that I needed. But with this group, I received unconditional love. They surrounded me, and I was a broken man. They picked me up piece by piece by piece. And some days were harder than others, but they did it. And you know that, I don't know if you guys heard of the old adage of it's easier to fix a broken child, but it's easier to fix a broken child than to fix a broken man. Well, this group fixed me. Like I tell Mashawn to this day, thank you. And every navigator, you saved my life.
Great. So I know that Mashawn can also speak to this, but just to update everybody, Mr. Grady now has full custody of his kids. They're thriving in school. He also got a degree in social work because he was so inspired by his experience with our Brightpoint program, which I think is really cool. And so, yeah, this testimony just really shows the program's powerful source of support, and that it's the fathers themselves who choose to begin the transformative work themselves. Okay. So I'm going to pass it over to Marlo, who's going to talk a bit about the success of the program and the direction it's headed in.
Thank you, Will. So Mr. Grady's story always gives me a little lump in my throat because he is the epitome of working the program how it's supposed to be worked as a father. And so I think, from a program, a decade of dads, the name of this Lunch and Learn, I think it speaks to the importance and the investment that Brightpoint has in fatherhood services. And then the benefactors at this table and who are on the screen who have constantly supported the work. We started in 2016 as a program, as a collaborative effort with 3 other organizations to provide fatherhood services in 2016. We then received a federal grant from the FIRES grant, and in 2021, which allowed us, Brightpoint, to be able to provide the services that the 4 organizations were providing, all in-house with Brightpoint, and then that allowed us to expand statewide in 2021. Today, we are a unified program. We have what was once Thriving Fathers and Families and Advancing Fathers, all under one umbrella, which is Brightpoint Fatherhood Services today, which is a unified fatherhood services program combining cohort learning, one-on-one navigation, and peer support, serving over 1,000 fathers and families. Mr. Grady is just one indication of the impact. And you'll hear from our other fathers later in this presentation about the impact of our services. With the fatherhood services combining the integration of advancing fathers and thriving fathers and families, we've created a no wrong door approach. That means that we have a seamless access to our services, both in person and virtually, and we continue to connect fathers to the support that they need. And as you can see on the screen, some of our successful outcomes include 99% of our participants at Brightpoint connected them to timely supports and met their need. and 84% of the participants reported improved strong peer social networks. Next screen.
Thank you.
Of course.
So Marlo and Michonne are going to now talk about some of the services provided in greater detail.
You want to take peer-to-peer?
Yeah, peer-to-peer. Hello again. Peer-to-peer is so extremely important in the group where you have the dads. They come together where they might not even know each other, but over time they have a connection with each other where they're really promoting self-care. They're promoting the good mindset and things like that. So that peer-to-peer is so imperative to making them a success in the program. I'll give you a couple of examples where you have a dad, or take you two. You have Hollis and you have Derek, where they may come in and they didn't know each other, but over the 8 to 12 weeks, they become knowing they know each other, and then they hold each other accountable. Hey, are you coming to the group today? I picked up on some resources that wasn't mentioned. Take a look at these resources, and if they can help you move forward, they do that. So that peer-to-peer connection is so important.
In addition to the peer-to-peer support, fathers are also have access to a case navigator, which is the main point of contact for the fathers. They do the case management. They connect fathers to those resources that Michonne mentioned. Whatever that resource is, the case navigator works with the father to connect them to that resource. They are also integral in the development of the individual goal planning with the father. And in addition to a case navigator, something fairly new to fatherhood services is the workforce development component. It's always been a part of the program, but over the last year, it's become more robust in our service delivery around workforce development. Each participant dad who participates in the program is assigned an employment specialist, and that employment specialist will work with them to whatever their workforce needs are. If they are employed, we work so that they can continue to sustain employment. If they're looking for an advancement in their current career, the employment specialist will work with them around coaching them around advancement opportunities, in addition to seeking employment and connecting them with vocational skills as well. We have one father who has completed his CDL and is currently an over-the-road driver, correct?
Actually, four.
Four.
When I looked up, actually four.
A good example of the peer-to-peer.
Yes, exactly.
Actually, all of us always encourage each other and give opportunities and avenues to implement the programs that you already have in place.
Yes.
Four of them went through Olive Harvey Community College out of the program here.
Yes, and so over this fiscal year, we've been able to place 41 fathers in employment. And so the employment, while very new, was a necessary need because we know economic stability promotes parental and family sustainability. And so we are very proud of the case navigation and workforce development over the years. And so we continue to be a cohort-based, curriculum-led program. And so each father who participates in the program will receive 8 to 10 weeks of curriculum. And so that continues, and they are able to be seen up to 6 months to a year after they completed the curriculum-based component of the program.
And can I add to that real quick? Just real quick. In so much so that two of the dads, sometimes while they're driving, they take a lunch and they will call in during the session because they know the sessions are sometimes on Tuesday mornings and Wednesday mornings. So they was like, oh, it's a session. So they can be doing a drop off in Kentucky or at Walmart. And they was like, oh, it's a session. And they'll dial in just for that.
So accessibility, even virtually.
Oh, absolutely.
So they can still be part of it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. That's amazing. So I'm going to turn it over to Earl now to talk a bit about the mental health support that we offer.
Yeah, Fathers and Babies is a new workshop that we piloted this past year at Brightpoint. It's designed to help dads deal with stress during pregnancy and the first year of a child's life. It also helps them recognize stress in the mother and lend support to her, hopefully to decrease the risk of maternal depression as well. There's really nothing like this workshop across the country, and we were privileged to pilot it in a group format. What's interesting is we had 130 dads register for one of the virtual workshops that we offered. Normally, you don't get a high return on virtual groups, and we were shocked that 103 dads showed up in that virtual space the first night. And then 80 came back the next night. We had to narrow that down to get it into two 15 member cohorts. But the outcomes were really great. 80 and 90% increase on the different stress management tools that they learned. So we're really excited to offer it more in the next fiscal year to support dad's mental health. And then we also have some additional services. So there's internal and external mental health and wellness referrals that we can make. There's educational support referrals, legal assistance referrals. Each year we do a few dad talks like you saw with Robert Grady. We do father-child fun events. For 4 years, we've done a father-child fishing event in Bloomington, Illinois. And then we also develop new services to fill the existing gaps in communities where there's not fatherhood services.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now I'm going to turn it over to Michonne, who is going to introduce our guest participants from the program.
Okay, good. Hello again. So we have here Derek Handy, and then we also have Hollis Green. So I would say this, and I know I always tell you all in group, but I say this now on this platform. You all are incredible men. You all make this work really easy. And I know, Mary, you say you was a fourth grade teacher, so you will want these students, these participants in your group. Just your intellect, your engagement, it just makes my job real easy. So having said that, I will go into, first of all, thank you all for coming. I know time is of the essence, and you all did not have to be here. I know you have 3 jobs and you worked overnight, and he said that he was sleepy, so he took a half a day just to be here. And I know, Hollis, your just day to day is just crowded and jam packed. So on behalf of Brightpoint and myself personally, we just want to thank you all for taking time out to be here. Okay. So me having said that, tell me about yourself, introduce yourself, and then tell me about your children, and then tell me how did you come about getting into the Brightpoint Fatherhood Services? You go first, right?
Again, my name is Derek Handy. I got a daughter, her name is Janaya, and she's 5. Well, 4.5, gonna be 5 next month. Moving fast. And how I got introduced into the program, this guy right here, I work at the school where they host the Brightpoint, and I was out working, and he was like doing a pumpkin drive, and then he kept looking at me, and then he was like, I like your shoes. I like, thank you. And then he's like, how long you been working here for? Yeah, I gave him a little rundown, like I had just started at the school. And then he's like, come give us a try. Come, we host every Tuesday. And I ain't go right away. It took me like a month. But when I finally went, it just been a life. I don't even know how to explain it, because I be looking forward to those groups on Tuesdays. And even like if I'm at my lowest, my highest, whatever I'm going through, I can share, with the group, and they gonna give me different scenarios, different ways on how to attack it, whether it's good or bad. They gonna ask me how did I approach it, and just different things of that nature. And like they saying with the jobs and stuff, yeah, I got 2 jobs, well 3, because I cut grass on the weekends, and
But that's your landscaping business now, right? Which we just learned of, and we all applauded you because you sat on that for so long. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, they got on me for that.
We're like, what? Yeah. So yes.
But yeah, I'm just really happy to be a part of the group, and even like when it comes to like with my daughter, like they give me helpful tips on how to be a great father, whether it's being there, not being there, And when I say not being that, like co-parenting, like, and
Yeah, so wait a minute with that, with the scenario, because he was one of the youngest when he started at 23. Can I tell you the age? Right. He was 23. Right. And we was unloading the truck and he had on these fresh, nice gym shoes. So I'm a sneakerhead and I was like, why are you having these gym shoes where we're unloading pumpkins and the bushels? So he's like, oh, so then we got more engaging conversation and I invited him out. He's like, yeah, well, okay, yeah, really, not really into it, reluctant. And then when he came and he's been coming and being 23, where just interacting because we have so many different age groups represented. He may say something according to his age group, and then the other one say, "Oh no, you haven't experienced that yet," and things like that. But over time, just his feedback and the growth with conversation and things like that has just been phenomenal. So.
And I think it's pretty powerful when you think about it, we've had over 1,000 dads we've been able to interact with that are now feeling less isolated, that it's great that there's a variety of ages and backgrounds and life experiences, because all it shows is that they don't have to do it alone, that there's other dads out there from all walks of life that are experiencing fatherhood in whatever capacity that looks like. And some individuals might mentor, some might be mentees. I think it's just wonderful to show the power and the impact that can have, and that we've been able to walk along, that with 1,000 different dads. I think it's pretty wonderful to see in action. Thank you for sharing your story.
And having said that, this will be an easy segue into Hollis, right?
Hollis Green. I can't say enough positive things about the program. Prior to Brightpoint taking over at Educare, I've been a part of Educare, a parent there for like 17 years. I'm raising my 5 grandchildren by myself, my daughter's kids. It's 19, 17, 14, 12, and 5. Different trauma that my daughter had gone through and is still going through, that led me to take the position of keeping the family together and keeping them thriving as much as possible. Prior to Brightpoint, there were fathers groups there. There was a men's group. I must admit, I was drawn in because there was a free breakfast. There was an incentive. So when I went in, it was nice. It was a breakfast. It's okay. It probably was maybe 5 years that they had the group. Didn't have it as frequent as we have the meetings now, weekly. But they would have someone come in or guest speakers. But when Michonne showed up, I kind of had to, okay, here we go again. I got another group, another approach. But the way he manifests a connection with everyone that was there, and he did it very, not crafty, but with a very, very educated base of showing his experience without stepping on toes as well. So he drew us in, allowing us to talk. Not everyone was very open, like Derek was saying, like Grady was saying on the, what's his name, Grady or Brady?
Robert Grady.
Right, Grady, yes. He sat there. A lot of people would come and sit and wouldn't say anything, but their presence was known. And you could tell certain things were striking them different ways. And it would bring out a unity with everybody, just like when Terry got up with Mr. Brady and telling him that you're not feeling his pain. You're listening too much to the words. So I brought in a lot of baggage myself. I started sharing things, and then you find out that other people in the same group have similar things, even though there's so many different diversities, so many different backgrounds and ages. We all come together with the same common meeting ground of supporting each other. And it's been so vital the way that Michonne has navigated the possibilities that we all have to grow. And that has just been the basis for the whole group to grow, to thrive. And we have thrived. We've committed to each other. And like Derek said, there have been times where, you may not want to feel like coming in, but there's something that a spirit that we have developed to come there for support. And even if you are going through certain things and you don't want to talk about it, the group can actually sense that. And they know maybe just say a couple words, maybe it's okay. Just a handshake and embrace. And it's so meaningful. And I can't imagine not having this group anymore in my life, The youngest, the 5-year-old. Now, granted, I said I was done with Educare probably 5 different times. I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again. Then another kid come along. So she's about to graduate. But I don't have any plans on stopping from attending the group, even though I won't have a child there anymore. But I want to be a part of the group as long as possible. The resources that have come up through our discussions, through what Michonne has offered, and like you were saying about the mental health for women, we had a meeting where a young man didn't understand about postpartum. So, he had his frustrations on how his daughter's mother was reacting, and we brought up about the reality of that postpartum depression is real. And without him knowing that, he didn't know how to interact. So we got a resource. We first of all brought his awareness that this is an existing real condition and that you have to acknowledge it. He's not just going through the frustration. She's going through it biologically as well as mentally. So the support that we give each other is very genuine. There's no judgment. We don't always agree with each other at all.
Oh, not at all. You have 17 guys in a group. Like, what did you say, Derek? Right.
And you would think there would be some friction, but there's not. It's handled very, very amicably. So.
If I can jump in real quick. Yeah. So normally I start off the group and I say, everybody has, their different opinions and their thoughts and things like that. And I said, I'm taking off my title. I said, so I'm going to become us. I said, the only time I will go back to being the title is as far as program supervisor or as navigator, if I feel like it's going left. If I feel like someone's getting upset, I'll look at body language, I see what someone is saying and things like that. So I will intervene then, and then we'll move forward from that. Having said that, I have to go to the next question. That's right. Okay, but stay on that. How have your life and your relationship with your children change or co-parenting? I know yours is a little different, unique because it's your daughter. Right. But share with some of the stuff that you have shared in the group. That's just mind blowing.
Oh, well, just how other people are having similar issues with their kids. It has helped me understand that this is something that is not just my problem. We all share the same goals with our kids. We all want to have more interaction. The group has given me a more structured approach to, there's no manual for this. There's no written right way to do it. You can get in a general area, but with the support of the group, some people have more insight to certain things and certain behavioral things that I may overlook. And they'll check me or tell me, well, have you tried this? Or do you listen? Or are you always making judgments, or putting your foot down? Do you give them an opportunity to express themselves? Someone that's younger minded, I may have forgotten how it was way back then when I was that age.
And then you have 5.
Yes,
yeah,
5.
Compared to,
and they're so
1.
close together. Right. And the group reminds me certain aspects that I have to consider, and I'm open to that criticism or advice. Constructive criticism, I should say. It's really impacted me, the knowledge that a lot of our participants have that you wouldn't assume based upon how they present themselves. And when I say present themselves, like some of our participants, some of our members or our brothers, as we call each other, have been incarcerated. And they're very intelligent. They made a mistake. They got caught up in some falsely imprisoned, but they have shared their struggle, and just to see how they, after being, incarcerated and come out, and they have their whole goal is to change their lives and to change their communities that they're in. And it's been very empowering for me to see and to want to be a part of that brotherhood and to help as well in my own neighborhood. Because in the case of my two oldest grandkids, their father was murdered. I'm the only father that my son, as I call him, my oldest grandson, has known. I've been there for them on a daily basis, and any extra help I can get, which I've gotten from the brotherhood, has just been immense for me. And I can't imagine, not being with everyone. Derek, how we establish relationships. He's at the front door coming in. A lot of times maybe you're not feeling it, but just, him just saying hello, give me a little dab. It changes my whole atmosphere. And I wouldn't have known him unless this group would have happened. We wouldn't have known each other the same way. My ball joint broke off one day, right? Pulling in front of the plate. I didn't know what to do. I thought the car was done. It's over. Derek comes up. Oh, that's just your ball joint. It's very casual. Oh, you can get that done for this amount. That's no big deal. He just calmed me down. And that's just how we interact with each other. So that's been one of the biggest things. There have been so many
pass it real quick. And this is what we do in groups. So it's not like I'm being disrespectful. He knows that, right?
Yeah.
Pass it real quick. You had 10 minutes to talk.
Exactly.
That's what we do. Right. So pick it up there. Since you keep bringing up Derek there. So yeah, pick it up from where he left off as far as how it has changed you and co-parenting and your relationship with your kid.
How it changed me is my approach, like with a little girl, because raising a little girl and a little boy is never the same. You gotta have patience with the little girl, because they very vigilant. They want to get into certain stuff. Little boys, all you gotta do is pass them a little toy car or something. And then and how it changed my life is like, I'll be setting like personal goals and stuff like that, and I'll come back to the group the next week and they're like, Derek, did you go to the gym this week? You said you was going. I still ain't been.
And what was your word? What was your word? Right. So we started off, we picked one word and said, this is the word that we're going to use for the rest of the year. So it's already July 1st, and you haven't started yet.
I ain't.
Okay, cool.
You started your landscaping business.
Oh, he did. Right. He did. Right.
Went on a few runs, played a little ball. Like.
That's exercise. That works. That counts.
You don't have to do it at the gym.
There you go.
Yeah.
True. We count for one more.
One more.
Okay. Both of you all take a stab at this. Can you share specific examples of how the community of dads have showed up for you?
I was having a rough financial stretch approaching Christmas time, and I didn't know how I was going to get some things done. Some of the members in the group offered me some financial assistance, just right off the top of the head. I think we had some gift cards that had been distributed, and one of the guys just said, "Here, take this. You need it more than me." And it just meant the world to me. No one had to do anything. And then another brother did the same thing. And Michon said he would see if he can try to help with something later on. Or that's why a lot of the incentives that the group is giving are important. I don't think if we didn't have these incentives that we would disband. It does support. It does help. That's why it does help to have, donors or resources outside the group that can really assist us. That has really touched me. How not only financial help. I've been giving access to different counseling. One of our members had some problems with his daughter and needed some mental counseling. And he gave me resources because I needed the same thing for my granddaughter. And just connecting on those levels, it's just the support has just been just great. And they've shown it, like I said, financially, with different resources, and the camaraderie, you just can't touch it.
What about you? You get the last.
How the group helped me is basically it took a lot of weight off my shoulders, basically letting me know like this not the end of the world. Because before the group, I used to like run into situations and I would be like, man, whole world would crash. But now I come to the group, express how I'm feeling, just able to have that open floor. That mean a lot to me too, because like my peers around me, family members, they don't really listen to me and don't be really give me advice. Like I'll come and I'll be like, man, with a situation, they be just looking. I'll be like, what you got to say? I can't use, maybe you was gonna help me think outside of me, and the group provided that.
There are a couple of guys in the group that didn't know how to approach certain situations. And Sean and us would just say, well, just try, reach out to your father, reach out. Some hadn't spoken with their parent, or there was some kind of family rift. And we told them to just take the high road and just try. And then they established relationships. And they thanked Michonne about, thank you. If you never said that, I never would have reached out and made that phone call. And it was just a catalyst that just comes, it just keeps coming. And I don't think Michonne really knows how important he is to the group.
No, I don't. Right. And I'm right here, you all. Let me step out. Right.
It's more, take this. Really, seriously, it's not just a job. It's not just a position for him. It's a commitment for him. And he does whatever he can. And, with all due respect to Brightpoint, he will try to advocate for the group. And it's not for his own self-gain at all.
Good memory, too.
You said what? Yeah. Someone came yesterday. I said, wow, you haven't been since November. What's going on? Right.
You'll tell him something, you'll think he forgot, he'll call you out the blue. Yeah. Weeks later, be like, hey, how that's going? You'll be like, man, I thought you forgot.
That's the accountability.
Yeah. So thank you all again. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, thank you guys. And we'll have time at the end too for more questions. But real quick, we're just going to touch on the coalition building and advocacy policy piece of this program. So if Earl and Allie, you guys can just summarize quickly, and then we can get to the Q&A.
Well, I'm really excited to talk about fatherhood coalitions. I believe that they're the game changer in Illinois to increase fatherhood services. And I'm on a mission to convince everybody that every county in Illinois needs a fatherhood coalition. And I'll tell you why. There's a bigger system issue involved when it comes to fatherhood. In most counties in Illinois, there are no fatherhood services at all. And secondly, when they exist, nobody knows that they're there. So, as someone has said, what good are services if nobody knows they exist to take advantage of them? So after some years of doing fatherhood work and support group work and seeing the struggles, we came upon the idea that if we really want to be effective, we've got to get the community involved. And so we started 2 coalitions in 2018. And out of those coalitions, we decided then we would give birth to fatherhood services, not the other way around, not starting them and then communicating, get everybody together and talk about fatherhood, align everybody, and then start the services. And I was utterly shocked, totally amazed at the energy that were in communities, that people wanted to do this. And we were able, in McLean County, there was not one identifiable fatherhood service at all. Now, as a result of the coalition work, there's several fatherhood services, and other organizations are now starting them because of our coalition. This past year, our McLean County Fatherhood Coalition started its first strategic 3-year community mobilization plan, based on focus group work with the dads, based on a lot of conversations with community providers. when we launched it, and strategically now we are following this. We started it in February and already we're seeing some really good results. We're going to do this in Winnebago County and Chicago West Side, where our third coalition is. So it's the game changer. It's the game changer.
The missing piece. Thank you. Allie, do you want to do it?
Yeah, I'll be brief because I feel like people probably have questions. But essentially over the last several years, 3 to 4 years, we've been doing a lot of research around fatherhood. We've done focus groups statewide across our various fatherhood services and collecting data, both quantitative and qualitative, around fathers' experiences. And then we've done multiple kind of policy coalition work, as Earl had talked about. We did a mobilization summit earlier this year that kind of collected all of that research and gathered dads, elected officials, policymakers, and community members all together to talk through, like, okay, here's what we've heard from dads, here's the data around the state of fatherhood in Illinois and in local hyper-local communities, and where can we make some movement? Where do we see some opportunities in terms of systematic change? And so that mobilization summit happened, was that in March? Yeah. Oh my gosh, that seems like that was a really long time ago. It wasn't really. In March, we also did a fatherhood policy series, which potentially was some dads here who contributed to talking through barriers that they've experienced and then prioritizing policy issues that fathers experience. Those like kind of top 3-ish were, around mental health access, not just for dads and their kids, but also, as we heard Earl talking about with dads and babies, also around like when you are supporting your co-parent going through postpartum depression and those kinds of mental health access. Another big policy theme that we've seen a lot of is just general navigating of services. Eligibility criteria is really complicated. Dads are left out of some eligibility criteria when you're thinking about WIC and SNAP and things like that. And so that kind of general navigation is a big systems issue for dads. In addition to, employment opportunities and economic mobility and stability as well, we've talked about. So we kind of are working on formalizing, we have our policy structure and we're formalizing our policy agenda. And then we'll be over the next year doing, taking advocacy actions alongside fathers and our coalition partners and other community providers to have some movement around some of those barriers that fathers are experiencing on like a systems level.
Yeah. Amazing. Very cool. Okay. So now it is time for our Q&A. We're going to open up so questions from our funders or anyone else in the room. Really just like an open-ended discussion for the next 13 minutes. Exactly. So yeah. Any questions? Yes.
Hi. Well, I just want to, first of all, say thank you for your incredible work. Thank you to Mr. Handy and Mr. Green for sharing your stories and for taking time out of your busy schedule. I remember being at the table when it was back in 2016, when there was the power of fathers and when all this was getting started. And, really this initiative shouldn't have succeeded this long, to be honest with you. I mean, we're talking about really big organizations, very complex institutions like Brightpoint, Metropolitan, Family Focus, complicated issues, that all these organizations are dealing with. So to sustain this work for a decade is really a significant achievement, and what an incredible accomplishment. I think all 3 organizations have have fatherhood programs still in place, which is fantastic. So I'm just so impressed and grateful that you all are doing this work, because it is so vital, and fathers just don't get enough attention or resources for sure. So I'm really impressed, and just want to thank you on behalf of everybody at the foundation for the incredible work that you all are doing. I did have a question about some of the, and when the Power of Fathers first came together, some of the conversation was around, hey, would DCFS ever start thinking about integrating questions around fathers and like when they schedule home visits, thinking to include fathers as opposed to never thinking to include them. And so I'm just wondering if you've seen any shift in some of that thinking or approach.
Yeah, so actually DCFS is one of our funders for the work that a lot of the work that Earl has been doing. So there's definitely been shifts in that space because of, those collaborations. I can also speak to, we've seen shifts like internally too. I would say that we've made a lot of growth in terms of like how we do home visiting services, we do doula services, we have early childhood centers in like the greater Chicago area, and then one in Bloomington as well. And we've seen shifts internally of how we've been able to, increase our home visitors' awareness of the importance of dads being involved from the very beginning. Same for doulas as well. There's better outcomes when dads are involved prenatally. So like we've seen those shifts because of the services that we're doing internally, but also, I think a lot of the work that Earl does through Coalition, through those other service providers, also like lead some of that shift of perception of the importance of fathers, the lack of perception of the importance of fathers, as well as some of those more like local services changing how we're interacting with fathers. Like I think there was you guys did a father friendliness survey, which kind of calculated, in these certain areas, like how friendly are your services, your physical building, your paperwork, how you welcome dads, like how friendly is that for dads, and looking at, okay, well, here's what your results were. Maybe you can make some shifts and some changes. And we've also seen that, in our own early childhood centers as well, like, don't just call mom for something. Like, you have 2 parents listed, call 2 parents, or have the discussion of who you call first with the parents instead of just making the assumption that it's mom.
I've had that.
Yeah. Or they call dad for like a discipline problem, and they call mom for like something fun. Like I think there's a lot of assumptions people have, and so it's important to have those discussions around.
It can go a little bit deeper than that, as far as, yes, certainly contacting both parents, but it's completing the same assessments on both caregivers. So we're screening both caregivers for mental health needs. We're screening both caregivers for community resource needs. So we're not assuming one parent has needs and the other parent doesn't. And I think we're able to intervene earlier with fathers in this capacity because we are asking those questions earlier on of both parents and able to identify potential risk or areas that they're saying that they need support. So it's important that when we're doing home visits, like you said, we're completing assessments and stuff on both caregivers to allow equal access to services.
Yeah, there's definitely more work. There's definitely more work to be done, but I would say that we have seen progress. Or I wasn't sure if you wanted to add anything more about some of the.
Well, in McLean County, when we did the community survey, the lowest prepared was the K through 12 school district. So in our strategy, our mobilization strategy, we're building relationships with them. We have a leadership team of community members. So we have 2 members now that are part of K through 12. They're asking us for like in-service trainings. And they're getting us connected now to schools. So gosh, I'm just really pleased because there was no movement with them prior.
Question?
I can jump in. One, just thank you all so much for sharing about the work. And to the fathers part of the program, thank you so much for sharing your stories and being vulnerable and continuing to show up. So many things that I'm just extremely impressed by. My area is mental health, and so super grateful that that's being brought into the Fatherhood Services program. It's an intentional aspect of it, especially in Black and Brown communities, especially for fathers. So thank you for that. Thank you for the policy work that you're doing and making sure that your agendas are informed by the participants, as well as the coalition building. I was getting really excited too, as you were talking about the coalition building. So kudos there. It's not a question, it's more of a consideration, something to sort of give to you all to think about. The picture that was up for a little bit, I believe, was from the newsletter that was sent out from the Alternative Dads group. Just so impressed that that's a thing, period. So just want to say kudos there. The consideration, the name, the alternative dads group. I think alternative, at least when I read it, like alternative sort of gives the connotation of like unconventional or out of the norm or not mainstream. And with Pride Month just finishing up, one of the things I'm holding is, could that be something that's thought of in a different way? So maybe it's like, and I actually chat GPT this. I'm not a huge person on AI, but this was a great way to do it. Some of these were pretty good. So one was like Fathers of Pride, United Dads, like Authentic Fathers Network. Just wanted to flag that. That's the only thing that I had that I was like, other than that, I think you all are doing amazing work. Extremely excited to continue to see you all grow and support it and think through just how to make this more mainstream in different organizations across. So dads are not always secondary, that they are considered front and center with the mothers as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. So, and just to add to that, I'm so glad that you brought that up. That has been a topic of conversation often with the fathers who participate in the Alternative Lifestyles group. They are also looking to change their name because they're not really comfortable, or that it doesn't feel inclusive. It seems almost has a negative connotation for them. Yeah. And so we are having serious conversations with the participant around what they would like the name change to be. So you are right on task and on target with our current conversation.
Yeah, if I can answer that. So when I go into the groups and talk to the guys, they say, a couple of times that it's nothing alternative about them, that they're happy and that they're gay. So to Marla's point, yeah, we have revisited that a couple of times. So
thank you.
I just want to add a comment that I meant to add when I was asked about what the group has done for me. The mental health aspect, which is very important. It has been, without the label of a mental health group, it has given us all very sustainable mental health with our connections with each other.
So that's great to hear. Yeah. In addition to the groups that we have in the community, we also offer the same group inside of Cook County Department of Corrections. And so we work with fathers who are detained and who are about to matriculate back into the community. And so we want to be able to assist fathers in their journey as back into the community. And so this same curriculum that is offered in our community programs, we offer inside of CCDOC.
Should I share our budget? Or
can I say something real quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Daphne from McGraw Foundation. I don't have a question, but I just first off want to say thank you for this information. This is not a program we knew about. We've been supporting the Early Childhood Center in Carpentersville for the last few years and other programs over the years. So I'm just really happy to learn about this, and I think it sounds fantastic. So, and also thank you to Mr. Green and Mr. Handy for sharing. Appreciate it.
Glad you're here, Daphne.
Yeah, and I can say like one success that we had through some of our, policy and advocacy strategies was we did actually secure money in the state budget for this fiscal year for our fatherhood services, which was a really big win. And we were very excited to have that recognition. And basically Senator LG Sims made that happen. So I will give him his credit, but we were really happy to, have that recognition from a budgeteer in the Senate, and then for our legislators to recognize the importance of our services. So just wanted to share one success from our policy efforts. That's awesome.
I just had one thought to share out. I know we're getting time, and Will's going to give me the elbow.
No. I'm not going to do something.
I just wanted to share with the group that I hope what we're hearing today, and I get really excited about fatherhood, and I'm so honored to be a part of the team, is that I've heard a couple buzz phrases and buzzwords of unconditional, no wrong door, meeting our fathers where they are. I hope that everybody's leaving the room today hearing we're meeting. There really is not a wrong door. We're adaptive, and there's a continuum of services that we're able to provide for the dads that we're so honored to work with. That could be one-on-one. That could be a workshop that is curriculum driven. There's some peer-to-peer support. There is some employment support. There is some advocacy efforts going on. So there's a whole continuum of ways that we are able to come into the lives of the dads that we get to work with and hopefully help them get to a space where they don't need us any longer, although some sounds like they're lifers, which is, I really love it. So I just want everybody in the room to hear that there is a continuum of ways that we are able to engage and support our dads that we're so lucky to work with.
Thank you.
Graduating from needing us to wanting us.
Yes. I like that.
Well, so we are at the time, so I want to be respectful of people's time. So if anyone has to hop off, thank you so much for coming. But I think since we started a little bit later, we do have time for 1 or 2 more questions if people want to stay for a little bit longer. But if not, that's okay. Maureen?
First, thank you to Derek and Alice, if you don't mind, for sharing your story. So beautiful. And I would love to hear more about what are you dreaming for your kids, or how are you, what you're learning, what's it going to be like different? Is it a Nyla? Is your daughter? Nyla. And what do you envision for that with what you are learning? Mm-hmm. And thank you for doing your work. As a lot of us have dads, and woof, thank you for doing it. It's a beautiful truth, but that's a gift you could give you. So just love to hear about it. Anything you want to share?
Right now is really education right now, because I got some college under my belt. So I'm going to try to push her to, go to college. Well, even if she don't go to college, pick something that she really want to do and help her pursue it.
And if we were in a meeting right now, sometimes we have to lead by example. So you can get back in school.
And this is what happens, right?
But you started, and then you'll solidify your principles that you're going to pass on to your daughter.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I will say, I'll say one little thing. As like an outsider who, I've only been to one group, I think, and it was a couple of years ago. But there's something really, as you kind of, I hope you can pick it up virtually too, but there's something like special that's created in group that carries outside of group too. Like, I've been in other situations with dads who have been in different groups who don't know each other, but still that like brotherhood still exists outside of like multiple groups, and it carries into other spaces. And I think that's really magical as an outsider to observe how you guys show up in those spaces and still support each other, even though you have no idea who that person is, but you show up and are able to still create that safe space of sharing. And I can feel that here physically, and I hope online that you can feel that as well. So I just want to name that that's something magical that like Michonne and the other other support staff like create in that space that carries out into other interactions as well. So props to you for that.
Well, thank you.
I get teary-eyed when I start talking about it too much, so I
that never fails. And so I always get a lump in my throat when I am in these spaces, when I get to talk about fatherhood services, because I hear every day, me and Michonne talk every single day.
Supervision every day. I'm like,
and the stories that he shares, some are extremely hilarious and some are extremely emotional. And so whenever I have the opportunity to sit in his group, I leave those spaces. I honor the space that they've created, and so I don't intrude. But to be able to see the camaraderie that you all share, the authenticity that you all have, and then the comfort, it is like nothing I've ever seen. And so kudos to you. Because I think we're attacking fatherhood services in a kind of a wraparound approach at all angles, and to just be a part of that is special. So yeah, kudos to this amazing team. And thank you to the benefactors who have continued to invest in the work that we're doing, continue to support. Thank you, because while Brightpoint has made it clear that they're invested in this work, we could not continue it without you and your support. So thank you.
Well, I think that may be a perfect